Okay, so last time I showed you how to make ints and strings. Let's just go over that. An int is a number, not a decimal number, but just a whole number. Um, and a string is just a group of words or letters. As you can see, I put some number and word. System.out.println is how we write to the console, which can be very important for when you're testing things like errors in more advanced programs. So let's get on with your next lesson. The next lesson. What I'm going to be teaching you is something pretty cool. It's called an if statement. So so let's just get rid of this right here and get rid of that. And let's start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an int called I for right now, and then I'm gonna make an if statement. So I'm gonna say if, well, let's set I equal to 0. So the first thing you want to know with the if statement is that when you're setting something, when you're asking if a certain string or integer or double or long, which are some other kind of variables, if they're equal to a certain number or word, you use two equal signs. But if you're doing something like a boolean, which is a true or false statement, you only use one. So 2 for that, and if I is equal to 0, I want you to system out print line. Once you print I is equal to 2, and then just plus I. So I'm going to tell it to write this, and then after that I'm going to tell it to write. Let's just copy this here because I'm lazy. And there we go. Actually, I don't know why I said that. Oh yeah, I do. I'm going to say I is equal to I. Then I'm going to go down in between these two because I want this to happen last. So I'm going to say if I is equal to 0, I want you to write I is equal to plus I. So it's going to say I is equal to 0. And then it's going to add 1. Now this is something else. It's a little thing that you will learn in many kinds of coding languages. It's plus plus. So it pretty much just adds 1. It's a shorter way to say I equals I plus 1. Which, why would you say that if you could just say plus plus, you know? So let's get on with that. And let's run this. Sorry, here we go. So it says I is equal to 0. As we can see, I wrote right here, I is equal to 0. And since if I is equal to 0, I told it to say that I is equal to plus the variable I, which is this, which was equal to 0. But since Java, it runs everything in chronological order, so it doesn't just take it all and then compress it and then spit it out on the table. It reads it in chronological order, so it's going to go through this. It's going to say, oh, I is equal to 0. So if it's equal to 0, I'm going to write this, and then I'm going to add 1, and then I'm going to write this. Now, what you're going to say is, well, if you added 1, then now it's not equal to 0. But what you're not looking at is that it was equal to 0, and it's writing things in chronological order, reading things in chronological order. So it's going to read this, and it's going to be equal to 0. Now, no matter what we change in I, it's still going to run the code inside this. So that's cool. We could tell it to write it a bunch of times, but by, something else we could do is we could say if I is less than or equal to 100, I want you to I plus plus. So I want you to add 1 to I, and I want you to write out what I is equal to. Now, if I'm correct, this should start out as I is equal to 1. Just because, yeah. Okay, so what did I do? Okay, oh, because it only ran the code once. Yeah, because we need to put this in a while loop, but we're not going to get into that now. So what it did is it said if I is less than 100, and like I said before, so I kind of made a mistake in my own lesson. So yeah, that's the basic thing of a if statement. So it said that yeah, I is equal to 0, I is less than 1. So I'm gonna add 1 to I, and then I'm gonna say that, and then it's over. So I guess I could teach you a while loop right now. So I'll make it quick. So pretty much what I like to do is I like to put things in while loops because it's just gonna say, well, as long as this is equal to that, I'm gonna go on for forever. So Java's just gonna keep reading that code. But with things like this if statement, unless you write like some certain codes that makes the system update, it's not going to do anything. So let's just say something simple. So if 1 is equal to 1. So there we go. So let's run that. And as you can see, it went all the way to 101. Don't know why it went to 101. Oh yeah, it's because it added it. Because since it was equal to 100, it added it, and then it added 1 to it. So yeah, there you go. Well, that's the gist of a while loop in an if statement. So let's just run over that quickly. Okay, so and you already know what an int is. So a while loop is what it does as the code keeps running through it, checking to see if it's true. And so since it is true, it's gonna go into here and it's gonna say, well, if I is less than 100, which it is up here, so it's I is equal to 0, it's gonna add 1 to I, and then it's gonna say this, and it's gonna check this again. But now I equals 1, so it's gonna add 1 to 0, and then it's gonna be 2, and it just so on and so on. So that's about it. That's just a common, but well, yeah, that's just about it. So practice that. I really recommend you practice that because it will be very well needed in advanced programming. But like, comment, subscribe, and see you in my next video.